Hey everyone, how are you? It's Craig Campbell from Pastor Craig's Vintage Cards, and time was getting away from me again. And I realized that I hadn't cast my ballot yet for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, and I figured I better get that taken care of today before I miss out on the time to get it done. And this year it's a little bit different. Ray from Philly, and I agree with him. He split it up the ballot into two sections, and we've got the Baseball Card Hall of Fame, the pre-war. And then you've got the post-war. So you can vote for 5 from each one of those. And I think that's a good way to do it because otherwise there's just, the eras are so different and the players are so different and the styles of the cards are so different and the rarity and so on and so forth. So I really agree with splitting the Hall of Fame ballot up into two sections. And so my first card for the pre-war Hall of Fame that I voted for is the 1911 T3 Turkey Red Ty Cobb. And that card's just beautiful. I'm looking at it here on the screen, and what a beautiful card. I mean, it's just the colors in the background are just unbelievable. And it's a wonderful, wonderful card. Of course, the press steels kind of mimic this T3 Turkey Red. And so it visually to the eye, it looks familiar, even though it's a very rare card. And so I think it's an important card, a very important card to be in the Hall of Fame. And I kind of look at my Hall of Fame induction. It's not like on my favorite cards, or it's not on a card that's the most valuable or a card that's the most rare. I think it's the cards that are part of that, of my vote has got to be cards that have impacted the hobby long term and still have a lasting impact today. And obviously this Turkey Red card does because again, the press steels kind of mimic that, and it's just a beautiful card. So that is my first choice. My second choice is the 1925 Exhibit Lou Gehrig, and what a beautiful card that is. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't in already, and so this card is a no-brainer for me. It was my second choice, and I love the follow through on Lou Gehrig's swing, the stadium in the background, the close-up of him. It's just a great piece. So that was my second choice. My third choice was a little bit more difficult, but it's the 1933 Gaudy Rogers Hornsby. And this card has got a little bit of everything in it. One, you've got this, it's beautiful with the yellow background, the grass, the player behind him, Hornsby bending over to field the ball. Just a great card with the dirt on there, and then the uniform. And this card is just spectacular. And visually, it's just so appealing. And so I really think this card is worthy to be in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. My third choice, and this is where it got a little bit difficult, but I voted for this one, I believe, last year too, and that's the 1934 Diamond Stars card of Jimmy Fox, Double X. And why do I choose that card? Well, it's one of the more famous catcher apparel cards. I love catcher apparel cards, and so this one here is one of those. And you've got the round mitt and the ball and his hand over it. And it's just he almost looks like a little kid in the card to me. And so I've always liked this card, and I didn't vote for it because I liked it, but I voted for it because I think it's an important card with the one of the most recognizable cards for catchers with their apparel on. And there's a few of us I know that kind of collect cards, catcher cards, because of the apparel. And so that was my fourth choice. And then my last choice, and this was really difficult. I wanted to choose this, and it's the T206, 1909 T206 Sherry Maggie, the error card. And I thought about it long and hard, and it's probably one of the most famous early error cards, and it's probably one of the hardest early error cards to get. And then for a lot of us that collected in the early 80s, through the late 80s, then all of a sudden you had all these error cards that kind of popped up in tremendous popularity. The Dale Murphy, a reverse negative error card. I think there's a Dave Littlefield, I believe, from a Fleer card that's an error card. Of course, the Billy Ripken error card from the 89 Fleer. There's an 89 Randy Johnson error card with the Marlboro sign in the background. So the error card became kind of an important subset within the hobby. And this 1909 T206 Sherry Maggie is the quintessential error card of the early pre-war as far as the rarity, and just kind of sets the standard, I think, for error cards. So that was my 5th choice. And then just outside of my top 5 were the 1909 Tris Speaker, the T206 Tris Speaker, and then the 1914 Cracker Jack Grover Cleveland Alexander. And that was a card that I was just really on the fence over because, one, the Cracker Jacks, of course, we all know the importance of those to the hobby. But then this one here, you've got the full body shot of Grover Cleveland Alexander with the beautiful red background, but it's the full body shot and the follow through after the pitch with the green grass behind, and it's just a really nice looking card. And so that one was really one that I was just really on the fence over, but it missed the final cut as well. So again, those are my pre-war Hall of Fame. I chose number 1, the 1911 T3 Turkey Red Ty Cobb, the 25 Exhibit Lou Gehrig, the 33 Gowdy Rogers Hornsby, the 34 Diamond Stars Jimmy Fox, and the last one was the 1909 T206 Sherry Maggie error card. And now we go to the post-war, and this is more of where I collect at, and these are the cards that I'm much more familiar with. But again, my number 1 choice is the 48-49 Leaf Joe DiMaggio. I think it's just a strikingly beautiful card. And the colors in it are just amazing to me, with the blue sleeves and that lime green background, the red border, and then you've got the hat and the yellowish color of the bat. I mean, the colors are just unbelievable. You know, and we're talking like one of the really first color sets. And so this card is just a beautiful card, and it's an important card, and it's worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. So that was my first choice. Now, for a lot of people, they're going to say, I don't know, but for me, my second choice, and it's the only card that I own that's on this ballot. Well, not that I own on the ballot, the only one I'm voting for, and that would be the 1968 Topps Tom Seaver. And the reason why I vote for this card is because of that trophy right there. And the Topps All-Star Trophy was such an important aspect of the 1960s hobby. And I really believe that the Tom Seaver is probably the most well-known. Yes, Pete Rose had one, Tony Oliva. There's many others that had this card. And again, Pete Rose, Oliva. But for me, this Seaver card is the quintessential Topps Trophy All-Star card. And I think it deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because of that. Because those Topps trophies were so critical to the youngsters like me collecting at that time. I remember whenever I would see that trophy, it was like an important card. Even though the player may not have been panned out to be any good, but for me as a child, seeing that trophy was so important, especially the big trophies like they had on the 60s cards up through 72. And this card is deserved to be in the Hall of Fame because I remember these trophies meant a lot to young collectors. And this Tom Seaver card, I'm not a Tom Seaver collector per se, but this card here with that trophy deserves to be in the Sports Card Hall of Fame, in my opinion. My third choice is the 1990 Frank Thomas Leaf card. And again, it's a beautiful card, an absolutely beautiful card. I was 1990, I would have been 28 years old, and I was still collecting cards. My kids were little, and this Leaf set, I remember when this Leaf set came out after the 89 Upper Deck, and this Leaf set was like just so beautiful and was like a premium card set for that year. And then you had this beautiful Frank Thomas card there. I mean, and it's a beautiful card. And I don't know, the Leafs, they weren't really like hard to find, but they were not like mass produced to the level of the 90 Upper Deck, the 90 Donruss Topps, etc. I mean, they're plentiful, but this card here is a standout from that era. And I think that it deserves to be in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame because it was a premium issue within that overproduced era. You know, some people call it junk wax, overproduced, whatever you want to call it. But this 1990 Leaf set, especially the Frank Thomas, was an important card for sports cards. And it was a very collectible card, a very desirable card, because Frank Thomas pretty much came right out of the gate and was pretty darn successful as a player. And so that card is my third choice. My fourth choice, again, it's an important card, and it's the 1993 Finest Refractor Ken Griffey Jr. The 93 Topps Finest set was unbelievable. I can remember when that came out, and I thought I can't remember if the packs were, I want to say they were like $2.50 or $3 a pack, and I thought that was outrageous, in 1993. And I remember buying a few of them, and they were like, the cards were amazing. But then you throw in this refractor and Ken Griffey Jr., and this just set off a whole new firestorm that is still impacting the hobby today. And so that card, I feel, has got to be in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. And then lastly is the 1955 Topps Harmon Killebrew. And I like Harmon Killebrew. I mean, he's not one of my primary guys. I remember him late in his career, but that card is just absolutely beautiful. You've got the beauty of the 55 Topps with that yellow background and fading from left to right as you look at the card with the pale, almost the white all the way to the left to the very bright yellow to the right. And you've got the head picture of him, and then you've got the full body pose in the back with the Senators logo in the upper left. Just a beautiful, beautiful card. And I think that card is worthy of being in the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. So that's my last choice. So I had DiMaggio, the 48-49 Leaf DiMaggio, the 68 Topps Tom Seaver, the 90 Leaf Frank Thomas, the 93 Finest Refractor Ken Griffey Jr., and then the last choice was my 55 Topps Harmon Killebrew. Which one's just missed? Boy, the 53 Topps Willie Mays, I think, is a beautiful card, and that was a really hard choice between that or the Harmon Killebrew card. The 51 Bowman Whitey Ford is another card that I think is an important card, and it's a beautiful card, and that 51 Bowman set is a special set as well. And then the last one, which I really was thinking about, was the 84 Fleer Update Roger Clemens, because that 84 update, there had been update sets before that, and there had been like Topps traded sets before that, but that 84 Fleer Update is by far and away the best of the 80s update sets, and you had Roger Clemens in it, who was just such a great pitcher. I'm a small hall guy, and if it wasn't for the steroid, he would easily be in. He's a great player, but that 84 Fleer Update Roger Clemens is such a desirable card. And I can remember even in the late 80s, the value of that card was fairly high. So again, those are my choices: the DiMaggio, the Seaver, the Thomas, the Griffey, the Killebrew. For the post-war, the pre-war, the 1911 T3 Ty Cobb, the 25 Exhibit Lou Gehrig, the 33 Gotti Rogers Hornsby, the 34 Diamond Stars Jimmy Fox, the 1909 T206 Sherry Maggie card, the Air card. And this has been a fun ballot to look at, and I hope that you guys will vote if you haven't already voted. I'm looking forward to seeing what the results are. And I've enjoyed watching other people's channels with their reasons why they voted in their ballot and which ones they've selected, which ones just didn't make the cut, and so on. So a great time of the year this is. I enjoy doing this, and I'm looking forward to the results. Thanks, Ray, for doing this, and everybody keep on collecting, and we will talk soon.